Dettmer's Chapter 12 now looks into evaluating our collaborative school consultation. With everything that we do, we want a program evaluation done. Just like we evaluate our students, we're trying to evaluate what we're doing for our students to make sure that it is working as effectively as possible. So this is a program evaluation, obviously. And why are we doing so many of those these days? A program like a good collaborative program or consultative program in schools is costly if done correctly, and often because of the need to provide professionals the additional time it takes to do a good job at collaborating. So very often we're trying to justify the use of the program because of the expense involved. Also, the people who are working so hard to do this kind of thing need to know that it's working. So educators themselves want to see results. And then in a formative way, which we're going to touch on in a second, it allows us to look at the program and fix things that we might need to fix, or change things slightly, or recognize what's working best. So just like we do with our students with program evaluation, you can be doing a formative evaluation and then ending up with a summative evaluation. In other words, ongoing looking at day in and day out, how are things working, so that changes can be made sooner rather than later. And then ultimately looking at how did we do overall? Were long-term goals met? You need to know how something is going to be evaluated before you start doing it. And this is something that's silly to say to teachers, because you all know that your evaluation and teaching circle is unending. So you know that you need to evaluate based on the way you've taught things and the material being taught. And then knowing what you learn from your evaluation determines what you teach again. So it's just an ongoing process, and you can't separate the two. So from the time the consultative model is established and put into place, we need to know how we're going to evaluate it so that data is collected, or those observations are made, or whatever. So this is total common sense to teachers, of course. The things that we're looking at, and this is a template for model evaluation, for looking at program evaluation, excuse me. We want to take a look at, are the resources adequate? Are the activities effective and adequate? Are they being, used with fidelity? Are the outputs what we're looking for, the results there? And both a short and long-term outcomes. So we've got to have our formative and long-term assessment in there, summative assessment, and then the overall impact of it. So that's the information we're trying to get to. So early on, the decision must be made, how do we get that data to analyze, and so make that evaluation plan happen. There's lots of examples in your text. I know that some pages here. And the types of programs that we see evaluated in the context of the material we're covering in this course would be things like IEP teams. We have special teams in school to deal with crises, for example, or, we've got lots of groups dealing with behavior specifically, all of the things that you might be engaged in your school building, and those vary obviously with younger students versus older students. There's district-wide programs that should certainly be looked at and evaluated. And then ultimately, we need to do our own self-evaluation, and I think teachers do that a lot inherently. Is what I'm doing working? And again, we're pretty pragmatic folks, and so we want to know that the effort we're putting out is paying off for our students, for our own satisfaction, for our co-workers and our colleagues. So self-reflection has been a part of the teachers' lives probably forever. But the larger evaluation piece can make some folks uncomfortable, not, some people within the team. And so it's critical to remember this is program evaluation. Take away our own self-evaluation, but the program evaluation isn't looking at individuals. It's looking at the whole program. And so it may be that there is a cog in the wheel not working well that is in fact, a person, but that's not going to be the way the evaluation is focused. So we're looking at what didn't work and what did work, not the who didn't or didn't did or didn't work, excuse me. So keeping the focus on the program, not the individual, will allow everyone involved to feel safe and will also, result in real positive changes because the focus is on what the entire plan is and not what a specific individual was responsible for example.